welcome to D-Mop Garage. We are working on the 52 Krankenwagen, and this is pretty much going to be one of the last videos you're going to see. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done anything to it. I have had some setbacks, which I didn't film, but I will tell you all about it right now. So one of the first setbacks we had was we had another oil leak. It just... yeah, unfortunately this one was the rear main seal, and what had happened is that is the one that was in there and brand new, of course, pressed in, didn't work, just was trickling out through the bottom of the motor, so motor had to come back out again. So that was one. The rear axle seal on this side started leaking again, so I had to take that apart, fix that. And you can see in here we've got our little fake battery box all... that's the last thing we got set up. She's running fantastic, except I went to put it into gear. I've got no reverse. So I was like, okay, what's going on here? So spent about half a day just mucking around with the shifter, you know, the shifter plate, moving that around on the floor, the whole 9 yards. Couldn't get that to work. You can see in here. Anyway, what it was a combination of a couple of problems where the shifter, the ball joint goes into the coupler. It was actually worn out, and I went and TIG welded what I thought was the material to bring it back up, and I can actually draw this on the board over here for you, because it was a bit of a weird one. It was kind of a bit of a mistake. So on the board, basically you've got your shift rod, and then you've got that little coupler thing like that, and then of course the ball joint goes inside here, and then your rod goes up like that. And what had happened is this part here had worn down, and so I went and built it back up with weld, probably put a little bit too much on, and of course when the rod was on an angle like that to go to reverse, it was binding in this part here. So I had to get under the bus to try to work out what the hell was going on while we couldn't get reverse. Finally got it sorted. I ended up pulling it back out, dremeled it back down again and smoothed it off, and we now have all the gears, everything's working. While I was actually under the bus and I was mucking around with the shift rod, I noticed something wasn't right with the front beam. And I'd never picked this up even since day one when we got it, because as you would have remembered in one of the previous videos, when I took the beam out and cleaned it, I never actually pulled out the spring pack to check it. And if you have a look here, and this is the weird part, you can see the bump stop is completely in the middle of the two arms, and that's not right. It should be actually resting against this top arm here. This two arms should be under tension and resting on that, and they're not. And I just looked at that and went, oh, hang on, something's not right here. So we're going to have to pull this all apart and find out what's going on with the spring pack inside, because there's no movement in these A-arms. If I put the jack under it and jack it up, nothing's moving. So something's not right internally. I never did actually pull those off. So that's going to be today's job. We're going to do a little bit of investigative dismantling and see what the deal is. But that literally is going to be the last thing for this before we go and drive this sucker around the block and do some test driving. So as you can see in here, everything is complete. I do have the rubber mat for the floor, and I will put that in later on, but everything inside is done. You would have seen, obviously, inside here, everything is done in here too, all strapped down. So yeah, we are pretty much complete. Let's see what the deal is with the beam. Now the quality control officer is down here somewhere. Bonnie, come on, here, Bonnie. Yeah, she's down in the jungle somewhere down there. Anyway, we'll get back to it, and let's find out what's wrong with this beam. The spring pack is absolutely just caked, seized inside it, and that was a mistake on my behalf. I should have pulled them out when I had it outside, and I just thought, nah, it'll be all good. Didn't really think too much of it. But you can see here, if I wallop these, they're not doing anything. So we're going to have to pull this out completely and just have a look at the packs inside and make sure they're not all broken. I've got a feeling they're just seized up. They're going to need a re-grease put back in, and we should get our tension back. So yeah, let's knock these suckers out and get them out. Righto guys, so after a good 2 hours of wailing with the hammer, this thing was absolutely seized. I literally had to use a massive mallet just to get those arms out of there. I don't think they've ever been out in 72 years. Like, they literally were fused in there. Even though they got grease on them, they weren't budging, and we did find the problem. And the problem here, you can see right here, the spring pack has a crack and a piece missing out of it. So unfortunately, that is toast, and you can't really weld these things back together because they're spring steel. So this top pack, we're going to have to just replace the one pack, tack the ends, and then pop it back in. The top, this one here was the top one. The bottom one was broken as well. So here's the top one up here. You can see there's a piece broken out of it. So that was the cause of our problem, and the reason why we weren't really getting any proper tension and throw in the suspension. So I'll have to go through my stash and see whether I've got a couple of these leaves. I'm hoping they're the same as the later model splitty beams, because I've got a couple of those lying around, I think. So yeah, we'll see how we go. At least we found the problem. We can get that all. We're going to clean out the inside of the beam properly and just check the bushes as well and make sure they're all right. We might even polish these guys up, and then we can get it all reassembled. And that is it. We're going to be test driving after that, so I'll bring you back in very shortly. Okay, so the front beam is complete, and you can see, you probably can't quite see the difference in height, but if we look underneath, you'll be able to see that, yeah, it's hard to see it with the light. We're kind of in the middle, a little bit towards the top. Obviously it's got weight on it now, so everything is a-okay. We are pretty much ready for a test drive. We'll have to do some negotiating to get this thing out of here. We can't back it up the hill because that's not going to work, so we're going to have to back it over onto the decking over there and then do a 3-point turn, I suppose, just to line it up so we can put the bum in first here and then drive her straight out. All right, let's go. do it. Well, unfortunately, that was a fail, guys. we can't get it up the hill. I tried to. You saw in the video, trying to take that angle and then get enough speed to get it up, and it's pretty steep. It's not steep on the GoPro, but it just kept stalling. Like I don't think the motor's powerful enough to get it up that incline without a bit of a run up. So yeah, what a bummer. It's just such a really awkward spot because this isn't big enough. We really need to get this area about 1 metre wider so that I can actually have the car more in this position here, but still trying to turn it and then floor it and obviously get some momentum. Yeah, what a bummer. I think the plan's going to be now, I'm just thinking we might have to just winch it up back. I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to take it up backwards because it's too tight of a gap up there and you don't want to go crashing the thing. So I'm thinking we might bring out the winch, which I've got, and we'll hook it up on the top up there where I've got that plate, and we might have to just winch it up with the motor off. Yeah, shit, I didn't think that was going to be an issue. Either that, or I wonder if we can rotate the bus around in this spot here with putting some jacks under it and see if we can do a bit of a 360. Some of those wheel dolly jack things would work wonders, but I don't think my shed's wide enough to be able to rotate it in there either. Oh, all these problems with a tight location. I really need a factory. This is getting, it's getting difficult working from home, doing this stuff. All right, well, I'll bring you guys back in when we've got it up the top there. You know, I can't do it today. It'll have to be next week. So hopefully we'll have a test drive coming up soon for you guys. All right, cheers. You.